Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another video. New month, so it's time to talk to you guys about my top 5 rogue decks that I want to recommend to you all to try out in the beginning of set 13 format for June. That being said, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a video. And if you guys want to help the channel out even further, there are many links down in the description that will help do so. Particularly today, if you guys are looking for custom sleeves, custom playmats, any other TCG accessories like that, check out your playmat down in the description below. The link there will get you 10% off your order, and it does help the channel out a lot. Anyways, let's get right into the video. Alright, so the first deck I want to recommend to you guys is OG Green Broly. Now, going from set 12 to set 13, we've seen a lot of new meta decks like King Vegeta, like Mikigabora. Some of these strategies in set 13 are doing quite well, but unfortunately, green is not really moving up the ranks in terms of being one of the most powerful colors. But OG Green Broly does have a pretty impressive showing across the first couple weeks of set 13. From week 1 to week 2, OG Broly did manage to secure one top cut spot in 2 different tournaments. Now, don't get me wrong, week 1 especially was a group of smaller tournaments, so I don't want you to take that stake and be like, oh, OG Green Broly is top of the meta or anything like that. I don't really want you to take that data. But going into week 2, OG Green Broly did manage to top a PPG event, and as we know, Florida houses some of the best players in Dragon Ball Super. So that one, I'm going to give OG Broly a bit more credit for managing to top that one, right? But OG Green Broly is really cool. It's just an old school Dragon Ball Super hand control deck. It's gotten a lot of support over the years. Obviously, the deck started out in set 1, but through anniversary boxes, side sets like Evolution Booster, OG Green Broly has gotten a lot of support. But besides the pure Broly support itself, we've just gotten better hand control tools over the course of time with the game, right? So we have like Cell's Kamehameha, we have Rosy Blast Manipulator from Evolution Booster, an excellent hand control card. One thing I really, well, I guess there's 2 things I really like about the OG Broly interactions is that with the new field card that just came out recently, you can basically get your main engine set up super easily because you want to be on your awakened side, you want to attack your opponent and draw a card, and then you and your opponent both lose a battle card, or a card in the battle area I should say, and a card from hand. But with your field card, that makes that effect pretty much one-sided towards your opponent, and that is one of the, fastest engines in terms of just making your opponent lose cards rapidly. I also really like the interaction with Son Goku Power of Legend. Like, I think this card's a really strong card for green hand control decks, but the fact that you can't always inherently rip a card out of your opponent's hand makes the card a lot less playable in certain strategies. But in OG Green Broly, Power of Legend is super easily playable because the first time you attack on your unawakened side, you could just plop Power of Legend down immediately, start going for those crits, remove a battle card if you need to. I think the deck is just a really, really cool old school hand control deck, and it's managed to do some things in set 13, so I do want to recommend it to you guys. Then we have Red Broly. So, man, Red Broly from just a few sets ago was one of the scariest decks you can imagine playing against, but it's fallen off quite a few steps, right? But I still think it's a really cool rogue deck to consider. One, the price of the cards for the deck has just dropped dramatically. Like the 1-drop TP Broly, back when this deck was first released, was sitting at about $80 to $50 depending on the week. But now the card is just so incredibly cheap, so incredibly affordable. So it is a good rogue deck to pick up if you like aggro, if you like Broly. But one of the reasons I really, really like revisiting this strategy is because of King Vegeta's imposing presence. So prior to this card being released as Red Broly, a lot of times you'd have to halt your own aggression to keep an energy up for a negate, usually Violent Rays for the most part, right? Sometimes like maybe Paralysis Technique. You could use Wolfang Fist for free if you had a Unison in play, but that's not always going to be the case. But I really like King Vegeta's imposing presence in Red Broly because it's an incredible negate in the majority of scenarios, just not allowing your opponent to get max value out of all their attacks. And you can just do your full-on aggressive thing in Red Broly, completely tap out on turn 2, which should end you on your Unison being set up, should end you on your 5-drop Broly swinging in. You should have ripped several cards out of your opponent's hand by this point. So being able to do that full-on aggressive turn 2, being backed up by King Vegeta's imposing presence, makes me really interested in revisiting Red Broly as a strong rogue aggro pick. So I wanted to recommend it to you guys, give you guys my thoughts on that cool interaction. Then we have Future Gohan, man. I really wasn't ready to talk about this as a rogue deck to pick up, but after doing the deck profile last week with the player who got second place at a 40-player case tournament, I'm a little bit more comfortable talking about it. You guys will see earlier this week I did the video talking about the Namekian boost support, so this deck is getting even more support towards the end of this month. And the player who was able to get second place with the Future Gohan build was main deck teching the Lord Slug engine, which is a really strong engine given, you know, certain elements of a format. Lord Slug, though, is just so good against so many decks. Really good against Mecha Frieza, stopping their United Assembles and all that different good stuff. Really good against Red, stopping King Piccolo from drawing off Piano, drawing off their Piccolo Jr. Unison. Really good against King Vegeta, stopping them from searching off their 19 carry critical Vegeta. A lot of King Vegeta lists also play Piccolo Jr. Unison, so that stops that there as well. The Slug engine is just really, really good. But besides that, I do think Future Gohan, with the new support it's getting from Namekian Boost, is going to be able to get into its Gohan chain, or sorry, its Trunks chain, even more easily and even faster. So I do think it's a really cool engine to explore. I think this deck is going to be one worth picking up because I kind of just foresee Bandai putting a lot more investment and a lot more support into this strategy. It's a personal favorite of mine. I love the characters involved in the deck, so that's just a bias thing there, but I do think it's going to be a pretty solid yellow strategy given some more good support. And again, Namekian boost support looking really, really good. We did the video on that on Monday if you guys want to see what those cards are all about. But yeah, definitely want to say you guys should try out Yellow Gohan, especially if you're anticipating more future support for this deck like I am. And then we're talking about Blue Gohan Skillless, right? So I didn't place a leader here on this slide because there are really two ways you can go about playing this. Well, maybe more than two ways, but two main ways that have been seeing success. So you can obviously go with the Gohan Skillless leader, and with the Sand Boost support, they're getting a Unison that makes Awakening with that deck even easier, right? Just a Unison that plays skillless battle cards out of your energy. So that's a, you know, a no-brainer, right? That can be pretty strong. The Gohan Skillless leader has done some things here or there at some of the events in more recent weeks. But also what did really well week 1 of the set was Soul Striker Blue Gohan Skillless, right? Now, there are major pros and cons to playing the Goku version or the Gohan version. So the thing with the Gohan version, one of the downsides is you have to play a lot of cards to get your engine going, which takes up a lot of deck space. So you have to play, you know, typically 8 skillless battle cards, some number of energy fortifications, which used to be 8, but now that there's this Goku Unison that plays your skillless right from the energy, maybe you can trim down on some of the energy fortification battle cards, but you are going to have to play that Unison to get your skillless battle cards out of the energy into play so you can awaken, right? So that's one of the downsides. One of the upsides, though, is that Blue Gohan is not susceptible to some of the same blue floodgates that Soul Striker Goku is, like Borgos's, for instance, things like that. But one of the upsides to playing Soul Striker Goku is that you don't have to play such a large engine of cards that allow you to get the engine rolling. You can trim that down a lot and just play a card like Goku Nimbus Master, which is just a 1 energy, play a skillless from your deck, and then you can get a lot of your skillless pieces going with that. So Goku does fall prey to a few more silver bullets, but it does allow for more flexible deck building. Gohan does not really fall prey to those silver bullets, but you do have to dedicate more deck space to the engine. So it's kind of like a pro and con, player preference sort of thing. Just wanted to make all those points known to you guys. And then finally, I want to recommend an all-time favorite, Kid Goku Skillless, right? This deck hasn't really done much, unfortunately, in quite a few sets. There was a smaller event, week 1 of set 13. This deck did manage to top, which is really cool. But before that, we haven't seen this deck really do much since set 10. Set 10, this deck got a really nice wave of support from the anniversary box, but it didn't really do anything in between then to now. But I do think this deck is really cool to explore because it's always going to draw a massive hand. That's just as long as you're able to draw the Kid Goku and get your 4-star ball online, this deck is always going to draw a major hand. But I really like a lot of the support the deck has gotten recently with Son Goku Path to Power. Really strong card in Evolution Booster that actually was seeing some play in the Goku Soul Striker Gohan skillless decks. It's a really good piece of skillless support, and what I really like about it in Kid Goku is that it offers up a lot of like really dynamic play lines. So you can go Path to Power, get your red skillless into play, and keep in mind a lot of anniversary box support for this deck was red, so that's kind of a no-brainer. So with Path to Power, put a red skillless in play, boost its power by 5. Now it's 25k red battle card. That opens up the door to Goku Heartfelt Plea, which just increases the ceiling of your deck exponentially. I think it's a really cool thing to explore, and this will always be a fan favorite deck of mine. So anytime I can talk about it with you guys, I will talk about it with you guys. But anyways, those are the decks I wanted to recommend to you guys for this month. Hopefully you guys enjoy. Let me know in the comments below what rogue decks you're messing around with. Thanks you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.